In this video, we will discuss One Piece Season 2, 2026. We will go over the storyline, summarize the plot, and explore the cast and characters. Additionally, we will cover the production details and box office performance. Finally, we will share reviews and our personal reactions. So, let's get started. After a 3-year wait, it is finally time to step aboard the Going Merry again as One Piece Season 2 arrives. Despite past controversies around Netflix live-action adaptations, this retelling of Eiichiro Oda's beloved manga surprised everyone when it was released in 2023. It turned many newcomers into dedicated fans while also satisfying longtime followers. The story continues as Monkey D. Luffy pursues the legendary treasure of Gold Roger. The season begins by revisiting the Pirate King's public execution, where he revealed that he had left his treasure in one place for anyone to find. This announcement sparked the golden age of piracy. Among those inspired is the cheerful Monkey D. Luffy, a young boy with incredible stretching powers gained from a devil fruit. His dream is to find the One Piece and become the king of the pirates. As Luffy continues his journey, he is joined by his growing crew. This includes the skilled navigator Nami, the serious swordsman Zoro, the sharpshooting Usopp, and the talented cook Sanji. Together, they face rival pirates and are constantly pursued by the Marines, led by Luffy's grandfather, Vice Admiral Garp. At the end of Season 1, Luffy finally made a name for himself by receiving his first bounty. With his crew now fully formed, they set sail toward the Grand Line in search of the One Piece. However, the ending also hinted at future dangers, including rival pirates like Buggy and Alvida, as well as the Marine Smoker, who burns Luffy's wanted poster. Season 2 will take the Straw Hat Pirates deeper into the Grand Line, adapting the early arcs of the manga's Alabasta saga. The 8-episode season begins by continuing the Loguetown arc, where Gold Roger was executed. From there, the crew enters the Grand Line through Reverse Mountain and arrives at various locations. They visit Whisky Peak, where they are welcomed into a mysterious town, and later travel to Little Garden. Eventually, they reach Drum Island, where Luffy searches for a doctor to join the crew. One of the most anticipated additions in Season 2 is Tony Chopper, a reindeer who gained human-like abilities through a devil fruit. Raised as an outcast, he studies medicine under Dr. Hirulek and Dr. Kureha. Chopper will be brought to life using visual effects, with a voice actor portraying the character. The new season also introduces the powerful criminal organization Baroque Works. This group operates in secret and aims to control the kingdom of Alabasta. It is led by the warlord Crocodile, one of the most dangerous enemies Luffy has faced. Baroque Works includes several deadly agents such as Miss All Sunday, Miss Wednesday, Mr. 3, Mr. 9, Mr. 5, Miss Valentine, and Miss Golden Week. Their presence adds new challenges for the Straw Hat crew as they continue their journey. Season 2 will continue to expand Luffy's story, showing his growth from a carefree adventurer into a stronger and more determined pirate captain. With new allies, powerful enemies, and deeper exploration of the Grand Line, the upcoming season promises to build on the success of the first. Meanwhile, Graham McTavish is set to play the previously teased Marine Vice Admiral Smoker, while Julia Rewald will portray his second-in-command, Tashigi. The series will also introduce new characters and expand its world even further. As mentioned earlier, the success of One Piece has already secured a third season. With Crocodile making his debut in Season 2, Season 3 is expected to fully adapt the Alabasta arc. New casting additions for future seasons have already been announced, including key characters connected to that storyline. One Piece Season 2 is set to arrive on Netflix on March 10th. After the strong success of the first season, which impressed both new viewers and longtime fans, the show has quickly become one of Netflix's most valuable series. The platform's early renewal clearly shows confidence in its future. The outlook for One Piece and its growing fan base is very promising. Many fans are already planning to watch the new season as soon as it drops. The story will follow Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji as they finally enter the Grand Line in search of the One Piece. If you are wondering about the release timing, the season will drop at midnight Pacific time, which means it will be available early in the morning in other regions. All episodes will be released at once, allowing viewers to watch the entire season immediately. According to official details, the Straw Hat Pirates will face stronger enemies and more dangerous challenges than ever before. The story promises new adventures, new locations, and a wider range of characters. Season 2 is titled Into the Grand Line and continues the story after the critically acclaimed first season, which received strong ratings from both critics and audiences. The new season will consist of 8 episodes, each expected to run between 40 and 60 minutes, similar to the first season. The story will adapt several key arcs from the manga, including Reverse Mountain, Whisky Peak, Little Garden, and Drum Island. Netflix's official synopsis highlights the high seas adventure returning with even greater stakes. Luffy and his crew will encounter powerful enemies while exploring a world filled with danger and wonder at every turn. The first episode is titled The Beginning of the End. Other episode titles are expected to include Goodbye Going Merry, Whiskey Business, and Big Trouble in Little Garden, though the final order has not yet been fully confirmed. Overall, One Piece Season 2 is shaping up to be a bigger and more exciting continuation, expanding the world, deepening the story, and raising the stakes for Luffy and his crew as they move closer to their ultimate goal. Episodes in Season 2 are expected to include titles such as Wax On, Wax Off, Nami Dearest, The Rogue's Shame, Dearly Beloved in Drum Kingdom, Falling from the Tree, and more. Monkey D. Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates have finally charted their return to Netflix for Season 2, titled Into the Grand Line. This marks the next chapter in the hit live-action adaptation of the manga series, arriving faster than many fans expected and setting a new course for the crew's journey. Following the massive viewership and strong critical reception in August 2023, the show's popularity was boosted by its binge-friendly format, as all 8 episodes of Season 1 were released at once. With Season 2 arriving in March 2026, fans will once again be able to watch the entire season in a single weekend. Based on the hugely popular manga, the live-action adaptation exceeded expectations when it first premiered. The story follows Monkey D. Luffy and his Straw Hat crew as they sail the seas in search of the legendary treasure left behind by the Pirate King, Gold Roger. Luffy, along with his colorful crew, possesses unique abilities, especially his stretching powers gained from eating a devil fruit. After 8 action-packed episodes in Season 1, the story now moves forward with a new mission in Season 2. The Grand Line, a dangerous and unpredictable ocean, becomes the main setting for the next part of the journey. The crew will travel through several iconic locations from the manga, including Reverse Mountain, Whisky Peak, Little Garden, and more. According to Netflix, Season 2 will adapt around 60 chapters of the manga, bringing the story forward significantly and expanding the world even further. In addition to new adventures, Season 2 will introduce several new characters who were not present in the first season, including the fan-favorite Tony Chopper. Season 1 premiered on August 31, 2023, with all 8 episodes released at once, making it perfect for binge-watching. The show was so successful that it was renewed for Season 2 just 2 weeks after its release. Later, in August 2025, the series was also renewed for a 3rd season, even before Season 2 premiered. This shows Netflix's strong confidence in the franchise. Although Season 2 is releasing in a different time of year compared to the late summer debut of Season 1, fans can still expect the same release format. All 8 episodes will be available on the same day. Season 2 will officially premiere on Tuesday, March 10, 2026. The first episode, titled The Beginning of the End, is written by Matt Owens and Steven Maeda and directed by returning director Emma Sullivan, who previously worked on episodes in Season 1. The second episode is expected to be titled Goodbye Going Merry. Whether fans choose to watch everything at once or spread it out over a few days, Season 2 promises another exciting chapter in Luffy's journey. Once again, the story follows Monkey D. Luffy and his crew as they sail across dangerous seas in search of the One Piece, the legendary treasure that will make Luffy the king of the pirates. With new locations, stronger enemies, and deeper storytelling, Season 2 is set to expand the world of One Piece and continue the adventure in a bigger and more exciting way. The actor who plays Zoro shared his excitement on Instagram, posting a photo with lead actor Iñaki Godoy and Jacob Romero. They were smiling on set, hinting at what fans can expect, though not revealing too many details. While the cast has shared some behind-the-scenes moments, much of Season 2's direction is still being kept under wraps. However, we do know that filming is underway, and the show is moving forward toward its planned release window. The cast for Season 2 is expanding with several new additions. Among them are actors playing key members of Baroque works, including characters like Mr. 3 and Miss Valentine. These new characters will play important roles in the story as the stakes continue to rise. Even though fans are excited, they will need to be patient, as there is still some waiting time before the season arrives. So, what do we know so far about One Piece Season 2? Reports confirmed that the show would not return in 2024, but production officially began in mid-2024. The announcement was made through Netflix's social media, where a fun video showed a digital assistant being asked for directions to South Africa, with the response being setting course to the Grand Line. In the video, the cast reunites aboard the Going Merry, confirming that they are returning to film Season 2. The post was captioned with excitement, signaling the beginning of a new adventure. Another post followed shortly after, teasing that dreams are about to become reality and that a bigger journey lies ahead. Season 1 began filming in January 2022 and wrapped in August of the same year. However, due to heavy post-production work, especially for visual effects and world building, the show did not premiere until August 2023. While season may not take as long, it still requires significant production effort. Because of this, a late 2025 or early 2026 release timeline makes sense. During a major Netflix event, more casting announcements were made, including actors for important roles connected to Baroque works. Characters like Mr. Zero and Miss All Sunday are expected to play major parts in the story. These announcements were also shared on social media, building excitement among fans. Some actors expressed how grateful they were to join the series and be part of such a popular franchise. However, not every casting plan worked out, as some actors had to step away due to scheduling conflicts. Overall, One Piece Season 2 is shaping up to be a bigger and more ambitious continuation, with a growing cast, expanded storylines, and deeper world building. Fans can expect more adventure, more characters, and a larger scale as the Straw Hat Pirates continue their journey into the Grand Line. She expressed that she loves the show and truly wanted to be part of it. However, due to her commitments to multiple films and TV projects already in production, scheduling became too difficult. She had to prioritize those projects, including a long-awaited sequel, which made her unavailable for Season 2. Even so, the production team has worked hard to find strong replacements and new cast members. The role of Dr. Kureha, in particular, is expected to bring both humor and depth, and the casting choice suggests confidence in delivering that performance. We can now confidently say that the Straw Hat Pirates will return in Season 2. This includes the main crew, along with the addition of new characters. One of the most exciting additions is Tony Chopper, who has been confirmed to appear, although the actor or voice performer has not yet been officially revealed. The season will also introduce Mr. 3, a former officer agent of the criminal organization Baroque Works. He has devil fruit powers that allow him to create and manipulate wax, giving him unique abilities in combat. Other newcomers will also join the story, including Vice Admiral Smoker, who will play a major role as a Marine pursuing Luffy. With these new characters, Season 2 is expected to bring even greater challenges. At the same time, some familiar enemies will return. Buggy the Clown has already been confirmed for Season 2, so fans can expect more of his chaotic and unpredictable behavior. There is also a possibility that characters like Olvida could appear again. During an interview, one of the actors shared that they are eager to return and continue the journey. However, Due to the shift in focus toward new story arcs, some characters may not appear as much in this season. The story will move forward with new locations, new enemies, and new challenges, making space for fresh characters to take the spotlight. At the same time, key figures like Luffy's grandfather, Vice Admiral Garp, will continue to play an important role. His pursuit of Luffy adds tension, as he is determined to capture him despite their family connection. This dynamic makes Garp a powerful and complex antagonist. His presence shows that the Marines will remain a major force in the story. The showrunners have hinted that upcoming characters will be very important to the overall storyline. They aim to balance the excitement for longtime fans with accessibility for new viewers. With a world as large as One Piece, which includes over 1,000 manga chapters, there are countless stories and adventures still to explore. Season 2 is just the beginning of a much larger journey, filled with new characters, powerful enemies, and deeper storytelling as Luffy continues his path toward becoming the king of the pirates. There is no shortage of source material for the live-action adaptation to draw from, and Season 2 takes full advantage of that. Many small details and references are included throughout the story, especially for fans of the manga and anime. Some of these are subtle, while others are easier to notice, but all of them add depth and excitement for longtime fans. These small moments often lead viewers to recognize connections and hidden details that make the world feel richer. For example, during a conversation about Gold Roger, he is referred to as a hero of the God Valley incident. Although this event has only recently been explored in the manga, it is one of the most important moments in the One Piece world. God Valley is a major historical event involving powerful figures. It is closely connected to characters like Garp and Roger, who worked together during that time. This alliance helped shape the future of the pirate world. At the center of that story is the mysterious pirate Blackbeard, who is hinted at in the series. He is known to be a dangerous figure with deep connections to past events and powerful forces. The God Valley incident also explains why Roger trusted Garp, even though Garp was a Marine. Their shared history created a bond between them, despite being on opposite sides. In the live-action series, Garp is known as a hero, but there is more to his story than what is publicly known. This adds complexity to his character and sets up future developments. Another interesting detail is the introduction of red-haired Shanks. While he is already known to fans, his deeper background will be explored later. His full name and connections reveal ties to important families and powerful groups within the world. Season 2 also includes small visual references, such as recurring background characters. One example is Panda Man, a well-known hidden character from the manga who often appears in crowd scenes. The live-action adaptation continues this tradition, placing him in various scenes as a fun detail for attentive viewers. One of the most important locations in Season 2 is Loguetown. This is where Luffy visits the place where Roger was executed. While there, Luffy learns more about Roger's past and begins to feel a strong connection to his journey. In that moment, Luffy declares his intention to follow in Roger's footsteps. This scene highlights the beginning of a new era, as Luffy steps closer to becoming the next great pirate. It also creates a powerful parallel between the two characters, suggesting that Luffy may carry on Roger's legacy. Overall, Season 2 builds on the world of One Piece by adding deeper lore, meaningful references, and important connections to past events. These elements enrich the story while setting up future arcs and characters. Netflix's adaptation does not fully explore certain moments from the manga, but it still includes subtle references. For example, Smoker is shown visiting the place where Gold Roger was executed, acknowledging its importance. While many fans expected Monkey D. Dragon to appear in Season 2, a cameo from his second-in-command, Sabo, was less expected. Sabo is a key member of the Revolutionary Army and was once Luffy's adoptive brother. He was believed to have died in an accident during their childhood. The live-action series has already shown glimpses of Luffy's early life in Fusha Village, where he grew up around Shanks and Mackenyu, with occasional visits from his grandfather, Garp. After Shanks lost his arm, Luffy spent time around mountain bandits led by Curly Dayton, who became a guardian figure in his life. The story also connects to Gold Roger's legacy, including how his son was protected by Garp. Later in the manga, it is revealed that Luffy's devil fruit is not actually the gum-gum fruit but a mythical human fruit, model Nika. This transforms Luffy into a figure connected to the legendary sun god Nika, a symbol known across the world for freedom and joy. There are small hints of this mythology in the series. For example, references to a unique dance associated with Nika appear, connecting to deeper themes in the story. Another subtle reference appears when Usopp tells exaggerated stories, including fighting giant creatures. These jokes often become real later in the series, which is a recurring theme in One Piece. For instance, Usopp once mentioned a giant mole, which later connects to characters in Baroque works who have similar abilities. The live-action series includes many of these small details, even if they are not fully explained yet. The giants Dory and Bragi also mention a special food called semla, which is important in later storylines. This connects to the backstory of Big Mom, one of the 4 emperors, who spent part of her childhood among giants and had a strong obsession with sweets. Eiichiro Oda often introduces characters in early sketches that look very different from their final designs. This applies to characters like Kaido and others, whose early appearances were much simpler. Another example is Loki, the Prince of Elbaf. His early design was very basic, but later versions show him as a much more detailed and powerful character. Interestingly, carvings and visual details in the series sometimes resemble Luffy's future form, especially his Gear 5 appearance, which is connected to the sun god Nika. This adds a clever layer of foreshadowing. At one point, Sanji discovers posters showing images of the Straw Hat crew. This moment is inspired by similar scenes in the manga, but the live-action version adds its own twist by making the drawings resemble animated versions of the characters. There are also references to earlier parts of the story. For example, a newspaper headline hints at events involving familiar locations and characters, including the dog from Orange Town, showing that the world continues to evolve. All these small details help build a richer and more connected universe, rewarding fans who pay close attention while still allowing new viewers to enjoy the story. As the live-action series continues, if it maintains its current pace, future arcs like Water 7 will eventually reveal Nico Robin's backstory. This is where she takes a stand against the world government, and Frankie, the shipwright, joins the Straw Hat crew. Some references mentioned in early materials, such as unrelated elements, appear to be creative additions rather than direct connections to the original story. When the Straw Hats eventually reach Fishman Island, major conflicts arise due to the long-standing tension between humans and fishmen. Characters like Hody Jones become central figures, representing deeper social and political struggles within the world. There are also references to Jinbe, who, although introduced earlier as one of the 7 warlords, will later become an important ally and eventually join the Straw Hat crew. One Piece began as a manga written by Eiichiro Oda in 1997 and quickly grew into a global phenomenon. The story follows Monkey D. Luffy, whose goal is to become the Pirate King by finding the legendary One Piece treasure. Along the way, he is joined by his crew, including Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji, as they travel across dangerous seas and face powerful enemies. Despite early doubts about whether such a large and complex story could be successfully adapted into live action, the Netflix series proved many people wrong. Season 2 has continued that success, receiving strong reactions from both critics and fans. Some reports even suggest extremely high ratings, with many praising the show as one of the best live-action adaptations of a manga series. The original anime series has also been hugely successful, running for over 1,000 episodes and becoming one of the most-watched anime worldwide. It has accumulated massive viewing numbers across streaming platforms. Netflix's adaptation has also performed strongly, ranking among the most-watched shows in multiple countries during its release. One of the most talked about aspects of Season 2 is the introduction of new characters earlier than expected. This suggests that Netflix may adjust the original timeline to better fit the live-action format. Production for future seasons is already underway, with the main cast returning, including Iñaki Godoy as Luffy, Mackenyu as Zoro, Emily Rudd as Nami, Jacob Romero as Usopp, and Skylar as Sanji. There has also been excitement around the introduction of Tony Chopper. Fans have been curious about how the character would be brought into live action, and recent previews have given the first glimpse of his design. Chopper, who first appeared in the manga in 2000 and later in the anime, will be voiced by a new actor in the live-action series. The first season of One Piece became one of Netflix's most successful shows, ranking highly across many countries and even competing with major hits like Stranger Things and Wednesday. Given the mixed history of live-action anime adaptations, this success was especially surprising and welcomed by fans. A release date has now been confirmed, with One Piece Season 2 arriving in 2026. The ending of Season 1 set up the next chapter perfectly. Luffy defeated Arlong and destroyed Arlong Park, freeing Nami and allowing the crew to move forward together. At the same time, it was revealed that Luffy now has a bounty on his head, marking his official rise as a pirate. All of this sets the stage for Season 2, where the Straw Hat crew will face even greater challenges as they enter the Grand Line and continue their journey toward the One Piece. Season 2 is set to introduce another major character to Netflix's One Piece universe, Smoker, a powerful marine known for his constant cigar and his strong dislike of pirates, especially Luffy and the Straw Hat crew. Netflix has already revealed several new cast members joining the series. These include actors playing characters such as Mr. Zero, Crocodile, Miss Vivi, and other important figures connected to the Baroque Works storyline. Additional cast members include Sophia and as Miss Golden Week and Mark Penwell as Mr. Nine. These characters work under Crocodile and are expected to act as key antagonists against Luffy and his crew. There are also other characters introduced during the crew's journey, including members of different pirate groups who may serve as either allies or enemies along the way. One of the most exciting additions is Tony Chopper, who will be voiced by Michaela Hoover. She is known for her work in voice acting and motion capture, including roles in major films. Speaking about the role, she shared that what excites her most about playing Chopper is the contrast between his tough exterior and his kind heart. Chopper often tries to hide his emotions, but deep down he is caring and sensitive. His character represents the desire to be accepted and to protect those he loves. The showrunner has also hinted that Chopper will play a major role in Season 2. From early planning stages, the writers knew that introducing this character would be an important part of the story. Season 2 will continue to follow the structure of the original manga, moving beyond the East Blue Saga into the next major storyline. So far, the live-action adaptation has stayed quite faithful to the source material. However, some changes have been made to fit the format. Certain scenes have been shortened, rearranged, or adjusted to improve pacing and character development. The relationships between the crew members are also slightly different. In the live-action version, the Straw Hats are a bit more cautious about fully trusting Luffy at first, which adds more realism to their journey. Despite these changes, the heart of the story remains the same. Netflix viewers, whether longtime fans or newcomers, have connected with Luffy's dream of becoming the king of the pirates. After defeating Arlong and liberating Nami's village, the Straw Hat crew is now ready to move forward. Their journey is only just beginning as they set their sights on the Grand Line and the ultimate goal, finding the One Piece. Fans can expect all the main members of the Straw Hat crew to return in Season 2, continuing their adventure with new challenges, stronger enemies, and deeper bonds as a team. The story continues with Monkey D. Luffy, played by Iñaki Godoy, whose energetic and optimistic performance brought the character to life in Season 1. His portrayal captured Luffy's spirit and made him a standout lead. He is joined once again by the rest of the Straw Hat crew. Emily Rudd returns as the skilled navigator Nami, Mackenyu as the swordsman Zoro, Jacob Romero as the clever Usopp, and Skylar as the passionate chef Sanji. It is also very likely that several marine characters from Season 1 will return. This includes Vincent Reagan as Vice Admiral Garp, Luffy's grandfather, Morgan Davies as Kobe, and Ilya Iserles Polino as Alvida. Some returning villains are also expected to appear again. Casting for Season 2 has expanded significantly, especially with characters connected to the Alabasta saga. Many of these new characters are part of the Baroque Works organization, a group of agents with unique abilities and code names. Among them is Miss Valentine, along with other agents who will serve as enemies for the Straw Hat crew. Another major character teased at the end of Season 1 is Smoker, a powerful Marine captain. He is one of the more complex antagonists in the series, as he strongly believes in justice and is determined to capture pirates, especially Luffy. Smoker is expected to be portrayed by a well-known actor, and his right-hand officer, Tashigi, has also been cast. Season 2 will also introduce key characters from Drum Island, including 2 doctors who play an important role in the story. These characters are closely connected to Tony Chopper, who has already been confirmed to join the Straw Hat crew. Dr. Hiralik will be portrayed as a kind but eccentric doctor, while Dr. Kureha will act as Chopper's mentor and caretaker. One of the most important new characters is Princess Vivi, also known as Miss Wednesday. She will play a major role in the story and will become closely connected to the Straw Hat crew during their journey. Other casting announcements include characters like Dory and Broggy, the giant warriors, as well as additional agents and allies that expand the world of the series. There is also strong anticipation for the appearance of major figures such as Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords, and Nico Robin, his second-in-command, who will become very important later in the story. If Season 2 continues the same level of accuracy as Season 1, it will adapt the early parts of the Alabasta saga. The journey begins at Loguetown, the East Blue port where the pirate king, Gold Roger, was executed. This location is symbolic, as it marks both the end of Roger's journey and the beginning of Luffy's path toward becoming the next pirate king. From there, the Straw Hat crew prepares for the challenges ahead as they enter the Grand Line, setting the stage for a larger, more dangerous, and more exciting adventure. While preparing for their journey, the crew eventually encounters Captain Smoker, a determined Marine who begins chasing them as they head toward the Grand Line. Once the Straw Hat crew enters the Grand Line, their search for the One Piece is briefly put on hold when they meet Princess Vivi, who has been forced to leave her kingdom of Alabasta. Her homeland is being manipulated by a powerful pirate warlord named Crocodile, who has convinced the people that he is their savior. In reality, Crocodile secretly controls a criminal organization known as Baroque Works. This is the same group that Zoro was nearly recruited into back in Season 1. When the truth about Crocodile's plan begins to unfold, Luffy and the Straw Hat crew decide to help Vivi save her kingdom. During this journey, Luffy also meets a unique character, a shape-shifting reindeer doctor named Tony Chopper, who becomes the 6th member of the crew. The full cast list for Season 2 has not been completely revealed yet, but several major changes and additions have already been confirmed. Production for the new season began around July 2024, with filming taking place in South Africa. There are also reports that seasons the 2nd and the 3rd of May be filmed back-to-back, which could reduce the waiting time between releases. For those who want to continue the story before Season 2 arrives, the original anime is available to watch. You can start from around episode 45 and continue through the Alabasta saga, which ends around episode 130. Some filler episodes can be skipped if you want to focus only on the main story. After a long wait, it is finally time to return to the Going Merry as One Piece Season 2 approaches. Despite earlier concerns about live-action anime adaptations, the first season proved to be a major success, attracting both new viewers and longtime fans. The story continues as Monkey D. Luffy searches for the legendary treasure of Gold Roger. Season 2, titled Into the Grand Line, takes the crew into new challenges and dangerous territory. As a quick recap, Gold Roger's execution sparked the golden age of piracy when he revealed that his treasure was hidden somewhere in the world. Inspired by this, Luffy set out on his journey with his dream of becoming the king of the pirates. Along the way, he gathered his crew, including Nami, Zoro, Usopp, and Sanji. Together, they faced powerful enemies and were constantly pursued by the Marines. By the end of Season 1, Luffy had earned his first bounty and officially made a name for himself as a pirate. With his crew united, they set sail toward the Grand Line. However, their journey is far from over. Rivals like Buggy and Alvida are still after them, and Smoker has now joined the chase. Season 2 will take the Straw Hat Pirates deeper into the Grand Line, adapting the early arcs of the Alabasta saga and introducing new allies, powerful enemies, and bigger adventures. The 8-episode season will begin by continuing the Loguetown arc, which Season 1 had already introduced in its final moments. This is where Luffy receives his first bounty, marking an important step in his journey. Before heading deeper into the Grand Line, the Straw Hat crew will stop in the town where Gold Roger made his famous declaration. There, they will encounter both familiar faces and new characters. After that, Season 2 will fully enter the Grand Line. The crew will navigate Reverse Mountain, facing dangerous waters and new challenges, before arriving at Whisky Peak, a place that initially appears welcoming but quickly reveals hidden dangers. As the Straw Hats continue their journey, the live-action series is expected to stay faithful to its source material while also expanding certain character arcs. One example is Kobe, whose story will continue to develop. The new season will explore his growth from a timid boy into a determined Marine, working under Garp and striving to restore justice within the organization. Several returning cast members will reprise their roles from Season 1, including Morgan Davies as Kobe. Other familiar characters will also return as the story expands. Season 2 will also introduce new characters, including one of the most anticipated additions, Tony Chopper. He is a reindeer who gained human abilities through a devil fruit and will officially join the Straw Hat crew. At the same time, the crew will face a major new threat in the form of Baroque Works, a powerful criminal organization led by the warlord Crocodile. This group operates in secret and aims to take control of the Kingdom of Alabasta. Baroque Works includes several dangerous agents, such as Miss All Sunday, Miss Wednesday, Mr. 3, Mr. 9, and Miss Golden Week. These characters will serve as key antagonists throughout the season. Meanwhile, Smoker will also play an important role as a Marine pursuing Luffy. His second-in-command, Tashigi, will accompany him. Additional cast members will appear in supporting roles, helping to expand the world and bring more depth to the story. As mentioned earlier, the success of One Piece has already secured a third season. With Crocodile making his debut in Season 2, Season 3 is expected to fully adapt the remaining parts of the Alabasta saga. Production for Season 2 has been moving forward steadily, with filming underway and the creative team working to build a larger and more detailed world. The series has quickly become one of Netflix's most successful shows, gaining a strong fanbase and proving that live-action anime adaptations can succeed. The future of One Piece looks very promising, with more seasons, new characters, and bigger storylines on the horizon. Cast members have also shared behind-the-scenes moments on social media, building excitement while keeping most of the details secret. Although much of Season 2 is still being kept under wraps, it is clear that the scale, cast, and story are all expanding, setting up a bigger and more ambitious continuation of Luffy's journey. We could not be more excited to see how the new cast members and characters will fit into this action-packed world. However, fans will need to be patient, as there is still some time to wait. So, what details do we have about One Piece Season 2? Here is everything you need to know. As mentioned earlier, Season 2 will not arrive until around 2025 or early 2026. Reports confirmed that the show, along with several other major titles, would not return in 2024. The production update came with a fun announcement video. In the clip, a digital assistant is asked for directions to South Africa, and the response humorously says, "Setting course to the Grand Line." The cast then appears together on the Going Merry, confirming that filming for Season 2 has officially begun. The video was shared with a caption celebrating the reunion of the Straw Hat crew as they begin their next adventure. A second post followed, showing the script and teasing that the journey ahead will bring these dreams to life. Season 1 began filming in January 2022 and wrapped in August of the same year, with the show finally releasing in August 2023 after extensive post-production work. While season may second not take quite as long, the level of visual effects and world building still requires a significant amount of time. Because of this, a late 2025 or early 2026 release is the most likely window. Season 2 will also introduce several new cast members. These include actors playing key roles connected to Baroque works, such as Mr. Zero and Miss All Sunday. There are rival signals that major conflict is on the horizon. Many of the new cast members have expressed their excitement about joining the series, promising to respect the original story and deliver strong performances. However, not all casting plans worked out. Some actors had to step away due to scheduling conflicts, despite their interest in being part of the show. Still, the production team has continued to build a strong lineup, and confidence remains high for the new season. We can also confirm that the Straw Hat crew will return, including Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Sanji. Season 2 will introduce additional enemies as well. One of them is Mr. 3, a former officer agent of Baroque works who has unique devil fruit powers that allow him to create wax and duplicate structures. During interviews, some actors from previous arcs have shared interest in returning, but due to the shift in story focus, not all characters will appear in Season 2. The new season will move forward with fresh storylines, new locations, and new characters, especially those connected to Baroque works and the Grand Line. Overall, One Piece Season 2 is shaping up to be a bigger and more ambitious continuation, even if fans need to wait a little longer to experience it. It is unlikely that some characters from earlier arcs will return anytime soon, as the story is now moving forward into new territory. However, the Marines will continue to play an important role in the story. Vice Admiral Garp is expected to return, along with Kobe, whose journey within the Marines will continue to develop. Their storyline will remain important as the conflict between pirates and the world government grows. Season 2 of One Piece is expected to follow a similar format to the first season, consisting of around 8 episodes. While Season 1 only covered the surface of the story, the next season will expand the world much further. Fans should get ready to return aboard the Going Merry, bringing along their hopes and excitement as the story moves into the Grand Line. The announcement of Season 2 does not come as a surprise. The first season quickly became one of Netflix's most popular shows. Within 2 weeks of its release, it reached the top of the streaming charts, even competing with major titles like Stranger Things. The creators and the original manga helped break the long-standing stigma around live-action anime adaptations. The success of One Piece proved that such adaptations can work when done with care and respect for the source material. Viewers from around the world, whether longtime fans or newcomers, connected with Luffy and his crew. After defeating Arlong and freeing Nami's village, the Straw Hats have now set their sights on the Grand Line, where the One Piece treasure is believed to be hidden. There is both good news and bad news regarding Season 2. The good news is that the story and scripts have already been completed, which helps speed up pre-production. The bad news is that production faced delays due to industry strikes, which pushed back filming schedules. However, once those issues were resolved, production was able to move forward. Given the massive success of Season 1, it is clear why Netflix continues to support the series as one of its major projects. In many ways, Season 1 served as a turning point for live-action anime adaptations. Earlier attempts, such as Death Note and Cowboy Bebop, struggled to meet expectations. One Piece, however, managed to succeed where others failed. Although a full trailer for Season 2 has not yet been released, early announcements and updates have reassured fans that Luffy and his crew will return. The main cast is expected to come back, including Iñaki Godoy as Luffy, Emily Rudd as Nami, Mackenyu as Zoro, Jacob Romero as Usopp, and Skylar as Sanji. Marine characters such as Garp and Kobe are also likely to return, along with familiar villains like Buggy and Alvida. At the same time, Season 2 will introduce a large number of new characters, especially those connected to Baroque works. This organization includes agents with unique code names and powerful devil fruit abilities, making them strong opponents for the Straw Hat crew. Overall, One Piece Season 2 is shaping up to be a bigger and more exciting continuation, building on the success of the first season while expanding the story, characters, and world even further. So far, Baroque Works includes several key members, such as Miss Valentine, who plays an important role among the organization's agents. Another major character teased at the end of Season 1 is Marine Captain Smoker. He is one of the most unique and complex antagonists in One Piece. Smoker strongly believes in justice and has a deep hatred for pirates, wanting them to pay for their crimes. He will be joined by his loyal subordinate, Tashigi, who plays an important role alongside him in the story. Season 2 will also introduce the two doctors from Drum Island. These characters are closely connected to Tony Chopper, who has been confirmed to join the Straw Hat crew. Chopper is a humanoid reindeer with medical knowledge and a kind heart. Dr. Hiraluk will be portrayed as a warm and eccentric doctor, while Dr. Kureha will act as Chopper's strict but caring mentor. There has even been discussion about casting a high-profile actress for the role of Dr. Kureha, which has generated excitement among fans. Another important new character is Miss Wednesday, also known as Princess Vivi. She will become a key ally to the Straw Hat crew during their journey. Additional characters such as Dory and Broggy, the giant warriors, are also expected to appear, along with more members of Baroque Works. There is also strong anticipation for the appearance of Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords, and Nico Robin, his second-in-command. Robin will later become a very important member of the Straw Hat crew. Season 2 is expected to continue the same level of accuracy as Season 1, adapting the early parts of the Alabasta saga. The journey begins in Loguetown, where the crew prepares for the Grand Line. This is also the place where the Pirate King, Gold Roger, was executed. While there, they encounter Captain Smoker, who begins pursuing Luffy as he enters the Grand Line. Once inside the Grand Line, the crew search for the One Piece is temporarily put on hold when they meet Princess Vivi. She reveals that her kingdom, Alabasta, is in danger. The kingdom has been manipulated by the warlord Crocodile, who has convinced the people that he is their hero. In reality, he secretly controls Baroque Works and plans to take over the kingdom. As the story progresses, One Piece continues to grow in scale and excitement. Nearly 3 decades after Luffy's journey first began, the story remains as popular as ever. When the live-action version was released in 2023, many fans called it a turning point. It successfully broke the negative reputation surrounding live-action anime adaptations. Unlike previous attempts, this version stayed true to the spirit of the original story, capturing both the characters and the emotional depth of the series. Because of that success, Season 2 now carries a new kind of pressure. It is no longer about proving the concept works, but about maintaining that momentum and meeting high expectations. The new season begins with intense and surprising moments. Early on, Baroque Works agents demonstrate their unusual abilities, including powers that allow them to manipulate their bodies in strange ways. This sets the tone for a season filled with stronger enemies, bigger challenges, and more creative battles. Overall, One Piece Season 2 promises to expand the story even further, bringing more action, deeper character development, and a richer world as Luffy continues his journey toward becoming the king of the pirates. The Baroque Works agents are introduced in dramatic fashion, with abilities that allow them to grow extra limbs and attack in unusual ways. These powers feel strange but exciting, giving both longtime fans and new viewers something memorable right from the start. The opening scenes show confidence in the show's tone, balancing action with humor. When we return to the Straw Hat crew, their energy feels familiar. Luffy once again talks about becoming the king of the pirates, reminding us of his dream and purpose. It feels like no time has passed. The chemistry between the characters is stronger than ever, and the actors seem more comfortable in their roles. Their performances feel more natural and confident in Season 2. As the story moves into the Grand Line, the crew explores new locations filled with danger and wonder. Little Garden is a great example, with its unique setting and larger-than-life elements. The visual effects have improved compared to Season 1. Scenes feel more polished, and the world looks more believable. Moments like Luffy stretching to fight massive creatures are easier to accept, and some emotional scenes may even surprise viewers. The episodic nature of the story works well. Each location feels like its own adventure, while still connecting to the larger plot involving Baroque works and characters like Smoker. New villains are introduced throughout the season, each more creative than the last. Some abilities may seem strange or even silly at first, but they usually fit within the world's logic. The production design has also improved. Costumes and set pieces feel more detailed and realistic, helping bring the world to life. Even characters that might seem difficult to adapt from animation are handled surprisingly well. However, not everything works perfectly. Some scenes can feel overly exaggerated, and certain abilities may come across as too unrealistic in live action. Tony Chopper is one of the most anticipated characters, and while his portrayal has some challenges, he still delivers emotionally. His story, along with Vivi's, becomes one of the strongest parts of the season. Their development adds emotional depth, and some moments are genuinely touching. Viewers may find themselves becoming very attached to both characters. The main crew continues to shine as well. Nami brings humor and emotion, Zoro remains serious and focused, Usopp adds personality, and Sanji gets moments to stand out. At the center of it all is Luffy, whose determination and energy drive the story forward. His passion for adventure and freedom continues to define the tone of the series. By the end of Season 2, the crew may not feel much closer to finding the One Piece itself, but that is not the main point. The journey, the characters, and the world are what truly matter. Despite a few flaws, this adaptation continues to prove why it works. It respects the source material while making it accessible in live action. Overall, One Piece Season 2 delivers a strong continuation, combining action, emotion, and world-building into an engaging experience. The series is now streaming on Netflix, and fans can explore the full season along with detailed breakdowns and discussions of its ending. After more than 2 years, Netflix's live-action adaptation of the beloved manga and anime One Piece returns with Season 2, titled Into the Grand Line. Based on the iconic manga that inspired one of the most famous anime series ever created, this new season follows the Straw Hat crew as they travel across a dangerous ocean route that circles the world, filled with unpredictable threats. Season 1 received widespread praise for how well it brought Eiichiro Oda's unique world into live action, and Season 2 continues that success. It introduces even more unusual characters, larger-scale action, emotional moments, and the same charm that fans love. Season 2 picks up right where the first season ended. Monkey D. Luffy and his crew, including Nami, Zoro, Usopp, and Sanji, prepare to enter the Grand Line. Along the way, they face new enemies, including the Marine Captain Smoker and the mysterious organization Baroque Works, led by the hidden figure known as Mr. Zero. The season adapts several major arcs from the manga and introduces many new characters. These include Miss Wednesday, Mr. 9, Miss Valentine, Mr. 5, Miss Golden Week, and Miss All Sunday, all members of Baroque Works. Returning cast members reprise their roles from Season 1, continuing the strong performances that made the first season successful. One of the biggest strengths of the show is its casting. Iñaki Godoy once again shines as Luffy, bringing energy, humor, and emotional depth to the character. Luffy is a complex figure, playful, stubborn, and determined, yet deeply caring. The rest of the crew also performs extremely well. Their chemistry feels natural, and every interaction adds to the strength of the story. New characters are also introduced smoothly into the world. Without revealing too much, characters like Vivi play a major role in the season and quickly become important to the story. The members of Baroque Works are also memorable, each with their own personality and abilities. Some stand out more than others, especially characters like Mr. 3, who brings both humor and unpredictability. The show continues to impress with its ability to adapt a very unusual world. There are giant creatures, strange powers, and exaggerated characters, yet it all works surprisingly well in live action. What should feel unrealistic somehow becomes believable, and in many cases, even emotional. One of the few criticisms of Season 1 was that some action scenes felt limited. Season 2 improves on this by delivering bigger and more dynamic sequences, making the battles more engaging and exciting. Overall, One Piece Season 2 builds on the foundation of the first season, offering a richer world, stronger performances, and more memorable moments while staying true to the spirit of the original story. One Piece, Into the Grand Line improves its action significantly, delivering bigger and more exciting set pieces, often at least one major sequence per episode. Some of the most thrilling moments include large-scale fights, intense one-on-one battles, and the final climactic showdown. These action scenes are well choreographed and exciting, capturing the spirit of classic adventure stories. The fights feel energetic and fast-paced, yet they remain easy to follow. The show avoids excessive shaky camera work or overly quick editing, instead using wide shots that clearly show the environment and movement during battles. The world of the series remains unique. There is danger in action, but the violence is not overly graphic. This balance fits perfectly with the tone of the story. One of the greatest strengths of Into the Grand Line is how well it understands its source material. The creators clearly respect what makes the original story special, and that passion is visible throughout the series. At a time when many live-action adaptations struggle to embrace their origins, One Piece stands out. It fully accepts the strange and imaginative nature of the manga and finds creative ways to present it on screen. Nearly every aspect of the show is handled with care. The sets feel real and detailed, helping to build a believable world. The costumes are colorful and unique, staying true to the original designs while still working in live action. However, adapting such a creative and unusual world is not easy. Some visual elements are harder to translate, especially when it comes to special effects. Season 2 improves the depiction of powers and abilities, and the actors do a great job bringing these moments to life. Makeup and practical effects are also used effectively in many scenes. That said, there are still moments where the visual effects are less convincing. Some longer scenes make the use of green screen more noticeable, which can reduce immersion. Tony Chopper, in particular, presents a challenge. While his character is emotionally strong and important to the story, some of his visual effects and transformations are not as polished as others. The combination of CGI and practical effects does not always fully match the level of realism seen elsewhere. Despite these minor issues, the overall experience remains very strong. One Piece, Into the Grand Line is a solid continuation of the story. It expands the world, introduces new and memorable characters, and delivers exciting action along with heartfelt moments. Most importantly, it stays true to the spirit of the original story, celebrating its creativity, emotion, and sense of adventure. The series has the potential to become one of Netflix's most successful original shows, and Season 2 proves that it is on the right path. With Season 3 already confirmed, the future looks promising. While live-action anime adaptations have had a mixed history, One Piece continues to stand out as one of the best examples of how it can be done right. When Netflix first announced that it would adapt One Piece, one of the most beloved anime series ever, there was a lot of skepticism. Many people wondered how a streaming platform could handle such a large, imaginative, and complex world. Surprisingly, the live-action series proved those doubts wrong. The story of Monkey D. Luffy successfully made the jump into live action, capturing the heart of the original. From emotional speeches about chasing impossible dreams to creative elements like communication through snails, the show stayed true to its source. After a break of more than 2 years, Season 2, titled Into the Grand Line, finally arrives. Thankfully, it continues to show that the creators understand what makes this story special. The new season begins with the Straw Hat Pirates setting sail into the Grand Line, a dangerous and unpredictable ocean filled with mysterious islands. This is where the legendary One Piece treasure is believed to be hidden. For Luffy, finding this treasure is his ultimate goal, even if others see it as impossible. As the crew begins their journey, they encounter new enemies, including Baroque Works, a secret organization of assassins. At the same time, they become involved in a larger political conflict that could decide the fate of an entire kingdom. For Luffy and his crew, this is just another part of their adventure. One of the biggest changes from Season 1 is that the setup phase is now over. The main adventure has truly begun. While this is still only a small part of the larger story, the journey across the Grand Line introduces new challenges and experiences. The structure of the season reflects this. The crew travels from island to island, with each location offering something unique, whether it is a prehistoric setting or a strange and imaginative environment. These individual adventures are connected by a larger storyline involving Baroque works, giving the season both variety and direction. Many elements from the original story continue to translate well into live action. This is largely due to a strong balance between practical effects and CGI. The show uses real sets and makeup when possible, which helps create a more believable world. At the same time, digital effects are used to bring the more unusual elements to life. Of course, some challenges remain. Since Luffy's body is made of rubber, certain abilities can look unusual in live action. Some of the more exaggerated powers do not always appear perfectly natural. However, most of the time, the effects blend well enough to maintain immersion. The colorful sets, detailed costumes, and strong performances help bring everything together. The cast continues to be one of the strongest parts of the show. Iñaki Godoy once again delivers a lively and engaging performance as Luffy, while the rest of the crew maintains strong chemistry. When the Straw Hats are together on screen, their interactions feel natural and enjoyable, adding warmth to the story. One of the standout additions this season is Tony Chopper. As a new member of the crew, he brings both emotional depth and unique charm to the story. His introduction highlights the show's ability to balance humor, emotion, and fantasy, making him an important part of the season's overall impact. Tony Chopper is introduced as a small, two-legged reindeer who dreams of becoming a doctor. Bringing him to life in live action was a major challenge, since he is such an important character and relies heavily on visual effects. Thankfully, the show handles him quite well. A big part of the success comes from the voice performance, which captures his insecurity, innocence, and charm. The visual effects also help balance his cute appearance with his more expressive and emotional moments. However, the adaptation is not without its flaws. One of the weaker areas is the fight sequences. While they are well choreographed, especially the sword-based combat involving Zoro, they do not always match the intensity of the battles in the original story. Zoro's grounded fighting style works well, but the larger-scale fights sometimes feel less impactful. In the source material, these battles are used to build tension and explore deeper themes, but here they can feel slightly stretched or less meaningful. Despite this, the series continues to capture what makes the story special. It embraces the strange and exaggerated nature of its characters while still delivering emotional moments. One of the strengths of the story is how it balances humor and seriousness. Characters who seem comedic at first can suddenly reveal depth and bravery. Even villains who appear simple may turn out to have complex motivations and emotional backstories. For example, a character with an unusual appearance might form a meaningful bond with someone unexpected, showing that even flawed individuals can grow and change. The series also explores the idea that even broken systems and people can be redeemed. These themes are presented alongside lighthearted and sometimes silly moments, yet the balance works surprisingly well. This mix of humor and emotion is one of the reasons why so many people connect with the story. At the same time, the show also highlights how difficult true redemption can be. When characters try too hard to prove they deserve forgiveness, it can sometimes feel forced. Genuine growth comes from actions, not just words. Some characters struggle with their past mistakes, showing fear, regret, and hesitation. These moments add depth and make the story feel more human. There are also smaller character moments that stand out. Scenes that show vulnerability, insecurity, or personal conflict help make even side characters more interesting. Overall, while there are a few shortcomings, especially in some action sequences, the series continues to succeed in delivering a story that is both entertaining and emotionally engaging. She notices Rusty focusing on small details, almost obsessively, as he reacts to everything around him. What begins as something simple slowly turns into a dramatic and emotional experience, almost like he is documenting his own life as if it were a story. At times, it feels uncomfortable, even unsettling, as if the line between reality and performance is becoming blurred. Yet, beneath all of this, there is a clear sense of vulnerability. Both Rusty and the writer are searching for a second chance. Their journeys are different, but they are connected through failure, regret, and the desire to start over. Rusty's behavior can sometimes seem extreme or awkward, but it also reveals how deeply he struggles with rejection and self-worth. Meanwhile, the writer tries to maintain control, often hiding behind his work and his own perspective. There are moments of humor as well. Rusty's attempts to present himself in a certain way, especially when he is trying to impress others, can be both funny and a little sad. He often acts confident on the surface, while clearly feeling uncertain inside. As the story progresses, both characters are forced to confront difficult truths. They realize that real change cannot come from pretending or forcing redemption. It must come from honest effort and self-awareness. The idea of saving the cat, which comes from a well-known storytelling concept, represents the need to show kindness or redemption in a simple, visible way. However, the story suggests that this approach can sometimes feel artificial if it is not genuine. Instead, true growth comes from deeper emotional change, not just symbolic actions. Monica's storyline adds another layer to the narrative. She is dealing with her own struggles, including relationships and personal identity. Her interactions, especially when facing her past, reveal both strength and vulnerability. Her connection with Rusty develops in an unexpected way. At first, their relationship may seem unusual, but over time, it becomes clear that they understand each other better than others do. There are moments of humor mixed with emotional honesty, especially when Monica reflects on her own life choices and tries to move forward. Overall, this part of the story feels slightly different in tone compared to the rest. It blends comedy with deeper emotional themes, sometimes unevenly, but still manages to deliver meaningful character moments. By the end, the story leaves viewers with a sense of uncertainty but also hope. The characters are not fully changed, but they are beginning to understand themselves better. The final moment suggests that while the journey is not complete, there is still a chance for growth, connection, and redemption. Many people may doubt it at first, but the casting and performances continue to impress. Some actors feel perfectly suited for their roles, bringing both humor and depth to their characters. One Piece Season 2 is easily one of Netflix's most anticipated releases of 2026. Despite the challenges that come with adapting anime into live action, the series continues to prove that it understands the importance of storytelling. While Season 1 focused on introducing the Straw Hat crew and their early journey, Season 2 appears to take a more character-driven approach. One interesting detail that has already caught attention is the introduction of Nico Robin. In the original manga and anime, her bracelet carries a symbol connected to Baroque works, representing her hidden identity and loyalty to the organization. However, in the live-action version, the trailer shows Robin wearing a bracelet marked differently from the beginning. This small change suggests that her true identity may already play a bigger role in her character from the start. Instead of slowly revealing who she really is, the series seems to present her as someone already aware of herself, even while navigating dangerous alliances. This change helps make her character easier to understand in a live-action format, where there is less time for internal thoughts and gradual development. It also strengthens her emotional journey. Rather than just being mysterious, she becomes someone actively searching for belonging and acceptance. As a result, her connection with the Straw Hat crew may feel more natural and meaningful when it develops. This small detail shows how carefully the adaptation is being handled. It respects the source material while making thoughtful adjustments for a different format. Season 2 has also released a new trailer, giving fans a closer look at what is coming next. The story follows Luffy and his crew as they finally leave the East Blue and enter the Grand Line, beginning a much bigger adventure in search of the One Piece treasure. In the trailer, the crew faces new dangers, including the powerful Baroque Works organization, which appears to be targeting them while also pursuing its own hidden goals. The trailer also introduces several important new characters, including Miss Wednesday, Miss Valentine, and Tony Chopper, the talking reindeer who will become a key member of the crew. Chopper's appearance has received special attention, with voice performance and visual effects working together to bring the character to life. Before fully entering the Grand Line, the crew will stop at Loguetown, a location that plays an important role in setting up the events ahead. From there, the story begins to expand, featuring classic moments from the original series, including intense battles, strange encounters, and unexpected dangers. The trailer hints at many of these sequences, such as encounters with sea creatures, conflicts with Baroque Works agents, and the crew facing increasingly difficult challenges. Overall, One Piece Season 2 looks set to deliver a larger, more emotional, and more exciting continuation of the story, building on everything that made the first season a success. One of the biggest developments in Season 2 is the increased focus on Tony Chopper. Although he does not appear until the Drum Island arc, which is expected to be one of the final parts of the season, the trailer already hints at his importance. It teases his emotional backstory, especially his connection with the doctor who inspired him. This storyline is expected to be one of the emotional highlights of the season. At the same time, it also introduces the conflict within the Drum Kingdom, ruled by a cruel leader, bringing several key elements from the manga into live action. Once again, One Piece continues to exceed expectations. Despite the challenges of adapting such a large and imaginative story, Season 2 looks even more ambitious. The Straw Hat crew is growing, not just with the addition of Chopper, but also with the introduction of important characters like Nico Robin, who will play a major role moving forward. There are also hints that the show may be planting seeds for future storylines. Some fans believe that certain early appearances could be setting up major characters long before they fully enter the story. One interesting possibility involves Laboon, the giant whale. In the original story, Laboon waits for many years at the entrance of the Grand Line, hoping to reunite with a pirate crew. His story connects deeply with future characters, especially Brook, who later becomes an important member of the Straw Hat crew. Introducing Laboon early could be a subtle way of preparing for that storyline. The live-action series has already shown that it is willing to adjust the timeline when needed. For example, bringing Garp into Season 1 earlier than expected helped strengthen the story and added emotional depth to Luffy's journey. Because of this, it would not be surprising if the show continues to introduce characters or hints earlier than in the original version. However, not all changes would make sense. Some characters, especially those tied to later arcs, may still need to be introduced at the right time to maintain the story's structure. Season 2 continues to build excitement by revealing small glimpses of new characters and scenes. Fans are eagerly waiting to see how these elements will come together when the season is released. There have even been reports and rumors of surprise appearances and hidden cameos, suggesting that the live-action adaptation may be planning for a much longer story. While not all of these details are confirmed, they show just how much anticipation surrounds the series. Overall, One Piece Season 2 is shaping up to be a bigger and more emotional continuation, expanding the world, introducing key characters, and laying the groundwork for future adventures. One Piece fans have been actively sharing their reactions online, especially after noticing small details and character hints in recent updates. One character that has sparked attention is Bartolomeo. In the original manga, he is introduced later in the story, but his personality quickly makes him a fan favorite. He is known for his extreme admiration for Monkey D. Luffy, almost to the point of obsession. His journey begins in the East Blue, where he is inspired by Luffy's bravery and determination. After deciding to become a pirate himself, he travels across the Grand Line and becomes one of Luffy's biggest supporters. Many fans relate to his character because of his devotion, often seeing him as a reflection of the audience's own admiration for Luffy. He eventually becomes one of the Straw Hat Crew's most entertaining allies. Although his role in the original story comes much later, small hints and references in the live-action series suggest that the creators may already be thinking ahead and planning for future arcs. Season 1 already made some changes, such as introducing certain characters earlier to strengthen the story. Because of this, it is possible that other fan-favorite characters could also appear sooner than expected in the live-action version. As Season 2 approaches, the Straw Hat Pirates are preparing to set sail into the Grand Line. This marks the beginning of a much larger and more dangerous journey. The crew will explore new locations, face powerful enemies, and encounter important allies along the way. One of the most important additions is Tony Chopper. He is a reindeer who gained human-like abilities after eating a devil fruit. Originally an assistant to a doctor, Chopper becomes a skilled medical expert. His story is deeply emotional, and his journey includes protecting others and finding his place in the world. Eventually, he joins the Straw Hat Crew and becomes one of its most beloved members. Season 2 will cover several important arcs, including Reverse Mountain, Whisky Peak, Little Garden, and Drum Island. Each of these locations introduces new challenges and expands the world of the series. Unlike Season 1, which focused on building the crew, Season 2 places more emphasis on the team working together during their journey. The season begins after the Loguetown arc, where Luffy's growing reputation starts attracting attention. Several enemies begin targeting him, seeking revenge for past events. This includes the return of Buggy, who was previously defeated by Luffy. He forms an alliance with Alvida as they attempt to get their revenge. At the same time, the story introduces Captain Smoker, a Marine who witnessed the legacy of Gold Roger and is determined to bring pirates like Luffy to justice. Captain Smoker was briefly teased at the end of Season 1 through Luffy's wanted poster, hinting that he will play a much larger role in Season 2. As a Marine determined to capture Luffy, Smoker becomes one of the key forces chasing the Straw Hat Crew. Season 2 will also introduce the secretive organization Baroque Works, led by the mysterious Mr. Zero. This group operates in the shadows and is responsible for destabilizing the kingdom of Alabasta. Their plan involves spreading chaos and manipulating the people, using both deception and powerful agents to take control of the kingdom. At Whisky Peak, the Straw Hat Crew initially receives a warm welcome, similar to what they experienced earlier in their journey. However, this turns out to be a trap, as the town is filled with Baroque Works agents who are targeting pirates. This arc also reveals an important twist. Miss Wednesday is actually Princess Vivi of Alabasta, and she is secretly working against Baroque Works to save her kingdom. As the journey continues, the crew travels to Little Garden, where they meet the giant warriors Dory and Broggy. Their long-standing duel becomes a central part of the story, showing themes of honor and pride. Another major development is the introduction of Nico Robin, who will eventually become an important member of the Straw Hat Crew. Following these events, the story moves into the Drum Island arc. This is where the crew searches for a doctor to cure Nami after she falls seriously ill. During this arc, they meet Tony Chopper, a reindeer who gained human abilities after eating a devil fruit. His backstory is emotional and plays a key role in the season. Chopper eventually joins the crew, becoming their official doctor and one of the most beloved characters in the series. Season 2 will cover multiple arcs, including Reverse Mountain, Whisky Peak, Little Garden, and Drum Island. Each arc contributes to the larger story while also focusing on character development and teamwork. Compared to Season 1, which focused on building the crew, Season 2 places more emphasis on their journey together and the challenges they face as a team. As the Straw Hats enter the Grand Line, they encounter stronger enemies, new allies, and more powerful devil fruit users. These encounters expand the world and raise the stakes of the story. Despite its complex structure, the season aims to deliver a clear and engaging narrative, balancing action, emotion, and adventure. Overall, One Piece Season 2 promises a bigger and more exciting experience, bringing the world of the Grand Line to life while staying true to the heart of the original story. So get ready to come aboard once again, and bring along your sense of adventure, because Netflix's live-action adaptation continues to grow into something truly special. The announcement of One Piece Season 2 does not come as a surprise. The first season quickly became one of Netflix's most popular shows. For weeks after its release, Season 1 remained at the top of the streaming charts, even competing with major titles. It also broke the long-standing belief that live-action anime adaptations cannot succeed. What many thought was impossible, adapting such a large and imaginative story, turned into one of the biggest success stories of 2023. Viewers from around the world, whether longtime fans or newcomers, connected with Monkey D. Luffy and his crew. After defeating Arlong and freeing Nami's village, the Straw Hat Pirates are now ready to continue their journey toward the Grand Line, where the One Piece treasure is believed to be hidden. So, what do we know about Season 2 so far? There is both good news and bad news regarding its development. The good news is that the scripts for Season 2 have already been completed, which helps speed up the early stages of production. The bad news is that filming was delayed due to industry strikes, which affected many productions. Because of this, work on Season 2 could not begin as planned. However, those issues have now been resolved, and production is officially moving forward. Given the massive success of Season 1, it is clear why Netflix continues to support the series as a major project. In many ways, Season 1 acted as a turning point. Previous live-action anime adaptations, such as Death Note and Cowboy Bebop, did not meet expectations. One Piece, however, succeeded where others struggled. Although a full trailer was not initially available, early teaser videos reassured fans that Luffy and his crew would return. The main cast is expected to reprise their roles, including Iñaki Godoy as Luffy, Emily Rudd as Nami, Mackenyu as Zoro, Jacob Romero as Usopp, and Skylar as Sanji. Other important characters from Season 1 are also likely to return, including figures connected to the Marines and Luffy's past. In addition, Season 2 will introduce several new characters, including a highly anticipated Doctor character, which strongly hints at the arrival of Tony Chopper. Casting for new roles is already underway, especially for characters connected to the Grand Line and the Alabasta storyline. Overall, One Piece Season 2 is shaping up to be a larger and more ambitious continuation, building on the success of the first season while expanding the story, the world, and the characters. Several characters introduced in Season 2 will play major roles in the Alabasta saga. These include members of Baroque Works, a secret organization made up of mercenaries and agents, each with unique abilities and code names. One of the most important returning characters is Captain Smoker, who was teased in the post-credit scene of Season 1. He is a determined Marine and one of the more complex characters in One Piece. Smoker strongly believes in justice and is committed to capturing pirates, especially Luffy. Alongside him is his loyal subordinate, Tashigi, who will also play an important role. Season 2 will also introduce key characters from Drum Island. These include two doctors who are closely connected to Tony Chopper, a shape-shifting reindeer who becomes a member of the Straw Hat crew. Chopper is one of the most anticipated additions, and his introduction will be a major highlight of the season. Another major casting update includes characters like Dory and Broggy, the giant warriors, who will appear during the Little Garden arc. There is also strong anticipation for the arrival of Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords, and Nico Robin, his second-in-command. Robin will eventually become an important part of the Straw Hat crew. Season 2 is expected to continue the same level of accuracy as Season 1, adapting the early parts of the Alabasta saga. The journey begins in Loguetown, the East Blue port where the Pirate King, Gold Roger, was executed. While preparing there, the crew meets Captain Smoker, who begins chasing them into the Grand Line. Once they enter the Grand Line, their search for the One Piece is temporarily paused when they meet Princess Vivi, who has been exiled from her kingdom of Alabasta. Her kingdom has been manipulated by the warlord Crocodile, who has convinced the people that he is their hero. In reality, he secretly controls Baroque works and plans to take over the kingdom. Luffy and the Straw Hat crew decide to help Vivi stop Crocodile and save her homeland. As the release of Season 2 approaches, fans are becoming more excited. After waiting more than 2 years, the new season is finally close. There have also been discussions about the episode runtime. While Netflix has not officially confirmed the exact lengths, reports suggest that the episodes may be slightly longer, giving more time for storytelling and character development. If true, this would allow the show to explore its arcs in greater detail. Overall, the continued popularity of One Piece is no surprise. Season 1 proved to be a massive success, staying at the top of Netflix's charts and drawing in a global audience. With Season 2 expanding the story, introducing new characters, and raising the stakes, it is set to be an even bigger chapter in Luffy's journey. It is clear that Netflix subscribers around the world, whether longtime fans or newcomers, have truly fallen in love with Monkey D. Luffy and his Straw Hat crew. After defeating the dangerous fishman pirate Arlong and freeing Nami's village, the crew is now ready to set their sights on the Grand Line, where the legendary One Piece treasure is believed to be hidden. So, what do we know about One Piece Season 2 so far? There is both good news and bad news regarding its development. The good news is that the producers have confirmed that the story and scripts for Season 2 are already complete, which helps speed up the pre-production process. The bad news is that filming was delayed due to industry strikes, which affected many productions. Because of this, work on Season 2 could not begin on time. However, now that those issues have been resolved, production is officially moving forward. Given how successful Season 1 was, it is no surprise that Netflix continues to invest in the series. In many ways, Season 1 acted as a redemption for live-action anime adaptations. Earlier projects like Death Note and Cowboy Bebop did not meet expectations, but One Piece succeeded where others struggled. If Season 2 maintains the same level of quality, fans can feel confident that the story is in good hands. Although a full trailer was not immediately available, early teaser videos reassured viewers that Luffy and his crew will return. The main cast is expected to reprise their roles, including Iñaki Godoy as Luffy, Emily Rudd as Nami, Mackenyu as Zoro, Jacob Romero as Usopp, and Taz Skylar as Sanji. Marine characters from Season 1 are also likely to return, including Vice Admiral Garp and Kobe, along with other familiar faces. Villains such as Buggy are also expected to appear again, continuing their rivalry with Luffy. At the same time, Season 2 will introduce many new characters, especially those connected to Baroque Works, a secret organization made up of agents with unique codenames and powerful devil fruit abilities. Among the most important additions is Captain Smoker, who was teased in the post-credit scene of Season 1. He is one of the most complex characters in the series, driven by a strong sense of justice and determined to capture pirates. Smoker will play a major role as he begins pursuing Luffy into the Grand Line, adding tension and conflict to the story. Overall, One Piece Season 2 is shaping up to be a bigger and more exciting continuation, expanding the world, deepening the characters, and raising the stakes as the adventure truly begins. Captain Smoker is set to be portrayed by a new actor, bringing the powerful Marine officer to life as one of the key antagonists in Season 2. Alongside him, his trusted right-hand officer, Tashigi, has also been cast and will be played by actress Julia, adding more depth to the Marine storyline. Joining the cast are also two important doctors from Drum Island, both of whom play a crucial role in the story. These characters are closely tied to one of the most anticipated additions to the series, Tony Chopper, the shape-shifting reindeer who becomes a future member of the Straw Hat crew. One of the biggest casting announcements so far is for a major character the crew will encounter on their journey. Without going into spoilers, this character, known as Miss Wednesday, will be played by a rising star in Season 2 and is expected to have a significant impact on the story. Additional casting announcements include Brandon Shawn as a giant warrior, along with Werner Koetzer as another giant character, both of whom are expected to appear during key arcs in the Grand Line storyline. After nearly 3 years, it's finally time to set sail once again with the Straw Hat Pirates. One Piece returns with Season 2, titled Into the Grand Line, and this time, the adventure gets bigger, deeper, and far more dangerous. In this video, we'll break down everything you need to know, including the storyline, plot summary, cast and characters, production details, box office level performance, reviews, and overall expectations. So let's get started. Season 2 picks up right after the events of Season 1. Monkey D. Luffy has officially begun his journey as a recognized pirate, earning his first bounty and setting sail toward the Grand Line, the most dangerous sea in the world. Long ago, the pirate king Gold Roger revealed that his legendary treasure, the One Piece, is hidden somewhere in this vast ocean, sparking the Great Pirate Era. Now, Luffy, along with his growing crew, is chasing that dream. Alongside him are Nami, the skilled navigator Roronoa Zoro, the swordsman Usopp, the sharpshooter Sanji, the cook. Together, they sail aboard the Going Merry into uncharted waters. Season 2 adapts major arcs from the manga's early Grand Line saga, including Loguetown Reverse Mountain Whisky Peak Little Garden Drum Island. Each location introduces new threats, strange environments, and powerful enemies. But the biggest storyline revolves around a secret criminal organization known as Baroque Works. The Straw Hats will face a dangerous organization led by the mysterious Crocodile. This group includes deadly agents like Miss Valentine Mr. 5 Mr. 3 Miss Golden Week. At the same time, the Marines are closing in. Leading the chase is Smoker, a relentless Marine captain who is determined to capture Luffy at any cost. One of the biggest highlights of Season 2 is the introduction of Tony Chopper, a reindeer who gained human abilities after eating a devil fruit. Chopper's story takes place in Drum Island, where his emotional backstory and dream of becoming a doctor will play a major role. He eventually joins the Straw Hat crew, becoming its 6th member. Returning cast includes Iñaki Godoy as Luffy, Emily Rudd as Nami, Mackenyu as Zoro, Jacob Romero Gibson as Usopp, Skylar as Sanji. New cast members include actor playing Smoker, actress playing Tashigi, cast for Baroque Works, agent's voice and performance actor for Chopper. Giants like Dory and Broggy will also appear during the Little Garden arc. Season 2 began production after the massive success of Season 1 in 2023. Filming primarily took place in South Africa, continuing the large-scale practical sets and world-building that made the first season stand out. Despite delays caused by industry strikes, the script for Season 2 was completed early, helping speed up production. Netflix is also reportedly planning ahead, with Season 3 already in development. Season 1 was a huge success for Netflix, breaking records and ranking among the platform's top global shows. It also overcame the long-standing curse of failed live-action anime adaptations. Season 2 is expected to expand the world, significantly introduce deeper emotional storytelling, deliver bigger action sequences, stay faithful to Eiichiro Oda's original manga. Early reactions suggest stronger character development, better visual effects, more ambitious action scenes, emotional highlights, especially with Chopper. However, some concerns remain about CGI consistency, balancing humor and seriousness, adapting complex arcs into limited episodes. Season 2 of One Piece is not just a continuation, it's a major turning point. The real adventure begins in the Grand Line. With new allies, stronger enemies, and higher stakes, Luffy's journey to become Pirate King is only getting started. And if Season 2 delivers on its promise, this series could become one of the greatest live-action adaptations ever made. What if I told you Season 2 of One Piece is about to change everything. Bigger world. Stronger enemies. And a new crew member who might steal the entire show. But here's the twist, the real threat isn't just pirates anymore. It's something far more dangerous. After almost 3 years, the Straw Hat Pirates are finally back. And this time, they're entering the Grand Line. The most unpredictable, deadly, and chaotic sea in the entire world. At the end of Season 1, Monkey D. Luffy finally became a recognized pirate. He got his first bounty. He built his crew. And now, he's chasing the legendary treasure left behind by Gold Roger. The One Piece. But the Grand Line isn't just another ocean. It's a survival test. Each island feels like a completely different world. One moment you're in a peaceful town, the next, you're surrounded by giants who are fighting for your life in a frozen kingdom. And this is where things get serious. Because now, Luffy isn't just exploring. He's being hunted. There are 2 major forces coming after him. First, a secret criminal organization called Baroque Works. Led by the mysterious warlord, Crocodile. This isn't just another villain. This is someone who manipulates entire kingdoms from the shadows. And his agents? They're deadly. They don't just fight, they assassinate. But that's not all. Because the Marines are stepping in too. And leading them is Smoker. A captain who does not lose his targets. He doesn't care about Luffy's dream. He only cares about one thing. Capturing him. Now here's where Season 2 becomes something special. Because a new character is joining the crew. And trust me, this one is going to break your heart. Tony Chopper. He's not just cute. He's not just funny. He has one of the most emotional backstories in the entire series. And when his story hits, yeah, you're not ready for it. The best part? The cast is back and better than ever. Iñaki Godoy as Luffy, Emily Rudd as Nami, Mackenyu as Zora, Jacob Romero Gibson as Usopp, Skylar as Sanji. And this time, their chemistry feels stronger. More natural. More emotional. Netflix is going all in. Netflix is expanding the scale. Bigger sets, better CGI, more action sequences, more detailed world building. And honestly, it shows. Season 2 feels like a huge upgrade. Here's the truth. Season 1 proved that live-action anime can work. But Season 2? This is where it proves it can dominate. Because now the real story begins. The Grand Line is where legends are made. Or destroyed. And here's something most people aren't talking about. This season quietly sets up something much bigger. Future arcs. Future villains. And a journey that could go on for years. So the real question is, are you ready to sail into the Grand Line? The ending of One Piece Season 2 looks like a victory. But it secretly sets up something much bigger. A hidden war. A future betrayal. And a character whose true role changes everything. Let's break it down. By the final episodes, Luffy and the Straw Hats have survived the Grand Line's early chaos, fought Baroque Works agents, gained a powerful new ally. And most importantly, they've stepped into a world where pirates are no longer small players. They're part of something massive. Throughout the season, Baroque Works feels like the main threat. But the ending makes one thing clear. It's all controlled by one man. Crocodile. He's not just a pirate. He's a mastermind. He manipulates entire kingdoms from the shadows. And the scariest part? This was just the beginning of his plan. At first, it seems like random missions. Assassins. Chaos. Confusion. But in reality, Baroque works is slowly destabilizing a kingdom. Why? To take control of it from the inside. No massive war. No loud takeover. Just silent destruction. That's what makes it dangerous. Now here's where things get deeper. The ally the crew meets? She's not just a traveler. She's actually Princess Vivi. A royal trying to save her kingdom from collapse. And her connection to Baroque works changes everything. Because now the Straw Hats aren't just adventurers anymore. They're involved in a political war. Let's talk about the emotional core of the ending. Tony Chopper. Chopper's story isn't just about joining the crew. It represents something bigger. Acceptance, identity, belonging. By the end, the crew isn't just stronger. It's more human. And that emotional bond? That's what makes them dangerous. Meanwhile, Smoker is still hunting Luffy. And here's the key detail. He's not like other Marines. He's not corrupt. He actually believes in justice. Which makes him unpredictable. Because he might become something else later. Not just an enemy. The ending feels calm. The crew together. Sailing forward. But look closer. This isn't a conclusion. It's a transition. The Grand Line has only just begun. And the real conflict? Is still ahead. The ending clearly sets up. The Alabasta Kingdom conflict, Crocodile's full plan, bigger world politics, stronger enemies. And this is where the story becomes massive. Because now, Luffy isn't just chasing a dream. He's starting to change the world. Season 2 isn't about winning. It's about entering the real game. The stakes are higher. The enemies are smarter. And the journey is only getting started. Season 2 of One Piece just ended. But what comes next? A full-scale war. A villain far more dangerous than anything we've seen. And a moment that could completely change Luffy forever. Let's break down what Season 3 is really setting up. By the end of Season 2, the Straw Hats are no longer small pirates. They've entered the Grand Line, fought organized enemies, gained powerful allies. And most importantly, they've stepped into a global conflict. Season 3 will almost certainly focus on one major storyline. The Alabasta Kingdom War. At the center of it all is Nefertari Vivi. A princess trying to save her country from collapse. But here's the twist. The real enemy isn't invading from outside. He's already inside. Crocodile returns, but this time in full control. Season 2 only showed a glimpse of his power. Season 3? This is where he becomes unstoppable. He controls a criminal empire, he manipulates an entire nation, and he turns people against each other. This isn't just a fight. It's psychological warfare. And here's the part fans are waiting for. Monkey D, Luffy versus Crocodile. But this isn't a normal fight. Luffy is completely outmatched at first. Stronger enemy. Smarter strategy. Deadlier abilities. For the first time, Luffy might actually lose. Season 3 will also start revealing something much bigger. The world government. The power behind everything. And how pirates aren't always the villains. Characters like Smoker will begin to blur the line between justice and control. The Straw Hats will also evolve. Tony Chopper becomes more confident, Nami steps into leadership, Roronoa Zoro faces stronger warriors. And the crew starts feeling like a true family. Now here's something huge. Season 3 could introduce Nico Robin, a mysterious woman connected to Baroque works. But she's not just another villain. She's hiding something. And her future with the crew? Let's just say, it's complicated. Season 3 is where the story truly expands. Bigger battles, larger political stakes, more islands and cultures. This is where One Piece stops being just an adventure and becomes an epic. And here's my biggest prediction. Season 3 will end with a moment that changes everything. Not just for Luffy, but for the entire world. Because once Crocodile falls, the world will start noticing the Straw Hats. And that's when the real danger begins.